Very quick disclaimer, this content was produced in early April, well in advance of Villa's statement that the redesigned crest will appear on Villa's shirts, whilst the club will continue to use the existing shield design around Villa Park and on digital channels. Okay, on with the video. Hello, welcome back to Claret and Blue. My name's Dan Rowance. I'm joined by John Townley and Rob Warner. So we thought we'd make our own badges for you to judge. What do you think about that, first of all?
I'm excited, but I don't know how excited you guys should be, because the fashion industry is brutal.
Okay,
and
great.
So we've all seen Cruella de Vil. We might be about to see Cruella de Villa, because if these are bad, I'm going to tell you.
You've done one, John, I've done one, and Matt's done one. Matt's not here to record this bit, but if I get time, I'll insert a bit of Matt explaining his, because his is frankly ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if it's that bad, I'll phone him and tell him as well.
That'd be good, actually. He's probably on the way. We did concept kits in lockdown. We've had a designer make them, Dan. I'll put his Twitter link below. He's a great Photoshop designer. So anything we say today, it's not about Dan's handiwork, because they look good. The process behind them is where it all falls apart.
The concept is where we're at.
Exactly, yeah. So this is mine.
Okay.
So
why don't you talk me through the process then?
I've got two versions here. So I've got one with AVFC above and one with Aston Villa above.
Yeah.
So I couldn't quite decide. And I thought, like you said, I'm in charge. So I'm having two. So we've got Aston Villa above a shield shape. We've got a star inside the badge, restricting ourselves to one European trophy.
Yeah, totally.
We've got 1874 at the bottom, a blue shield with a claret background and a yellow lion. The lion that we originally picked for the Photoshops, we nicked it from somewhere. We didn't have the rights to use it. So the lion we picked originally was better than the lion we've got. So bear that in mind.
So the grimace is unintentional.
Yeah, it's not the best lion.
It does look like he's just bit into a balti pie, and there's either cold in the middle or there's a bit of bone or something.
But we have the license for that one, so we had to use that one.
Okay.
So yellow lion with a bit of yellow shading. He's got his claws out.
Yeah.
The kind of USP of mine, I guess, is that the lion kind of encroaches the edge of the badge. Now, if I scroll...
It looks like he's appalled by that star.
Yeah. If you shut your eyes for a sec, and I'll go to one of my mock-ups. So that's... You can open them now, by the way. So that's it on a shirt. So the overall thinking is that, again, I've seen John's. I think John's has done what I would like to see. I think yours is realistic. Matt's is borderline ridiculous, and mine is different for the sake of this would be a boring video if me and John did similar.
Yeah.
So my kind of thought process is that if you look at it from the shirt and the players wearing it, the lion is kind of like bursting out of their chest. They're kind of bursting with pride. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's so like passionate. It's bursting out of the shield. That's my kind of USP.
Do you know what? I like the idea of it, and I like the fact that it's an irregular shape.
Yeah. 1-0 to me.
Which makes it it adds an element of interest and makes us stand out. And as I've said before, I think Aston Villa are innovators, and so having something that feels a bit different, irregular, perhaps makes people feel a bit uncomfortable, isn't a bad thing. Probably not as uncomfortable as that lion's looking. Rather than bursting out of the shield, he kind of looks like he's trying to back out of it.
Yeah, like falling backwards,
I think in practical terms, if I was thinking of certainly the wording and the 1874 being outside the badge might come off in the wash, which I know is a big thing that fans complain about. Not always great for the players, though, stitching, because it rubs on your chest. Good tip, though, for the viewers is, if you're worried about stuff peeling off in the wash, just don't use fabric softener when you're washing anything with heat transfers on. That's going to be the biggest thing. Try and wash at 30 degrees. You shouldn't need to wash any hotter. But don't use fabric softener, and the chances are your logos and badges will stay on a lot longer. And obviously don't use the tumble dryer, because heat and glue is not a good combination. But I don't mind it. I feel like there's something there that could be worked with.
As a first draft, I was pretty happy with it. And
I don't mind that. I think like I say, if we were to design a more proprietary lion that we were able to use, I think because of how the lion is and the angle he's at, kind of drunkenly falling onto his sun lounger for our European tour next season, I think it kind of creates a diagonal with a star in the corner, which makes me think of like the MLS League badge a little bit. So I'd probably want to change that up. But I think the idea of it being a recognisable shield or traditional crest shape that's then got something else to it, I like that. I think there's something we could do with it.
When we've spoken now with the podcast, the small lettering was shrunken down on social media and stuff. I don't think would work. The 1874 would be so minuscule you wouldn't read it. Likewise, Aston Villa, I think the AVFC one stands out more than Aston Villa, especially white in these specific mock-ups. But I was pretty happy with it, incidentally, as a kind of nod to us and this being the podcast.
I don't mind that. I mean, even with that one there with the AVFC over the top, you could then maybe even have the star underneath it instead of the 1874.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, good suggestion. I like that. A nod to us, I guess, is that the claret and the blue and the yellow match the colours of the podcast logo.
Right.
So we kind of talk about what is Villa's claret and blue. Kind of forgot all about
pick
that.
a lane now, haven't we?
The claret is the claret and blue logo, and the yellow is the same. So that's a little nod to us in ours. So I'll read my brief that I sent to the designer and how they interpreted to make this.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be interesting.
So I said, a lion, but only the head, facing left and looking up towards the star slightly. So he smashed that part.
Yeah.
AVFC above the badge, a shield shape with the lion bursting out of the edges of the one side to look like it's coming through the player's chest via the badge. Not sure on colours, have attached a crap example I did, but it needs major work. 1874 underneath and the star needed top left where the line is looking to, and that's the crappy one I did to him that I did in about 5 seconds.
I don't mind that. Did you hand draw all the bits of the lion's mane, or was that?
No, again, it was a different one I found that we didn't have access to.
Yoinked it from somewhere else.
Lion needs to be a bit simpler than the one I've provided. There's too much going on. That from afar looked like waves on a beach.
Yeah.
So that's what we ended up with.
Yeah.
Which again, what I asked for, Dan smashed it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that the lion coming out of the badge isn't like as if he's trying to climb out of it like a lion coming out of a wardrobe or something, like face first. It's a little bit more subtle than that. I think one thing, regardless of if we like the current badge or not, that the club have done really well across, I think, the last 3 or 4 kit manufacturers. I think the execution of the badge on the shirt, I mean, it's a little bit different on that, but on the actual game day shirt where it's got the details in it, and it's
really
rubberised.
Nice. That's how I'd like mine to be as well. Yeah.
As somebody working in the industry, that is not a cheap element to put onto a shirt. You know, people tend to think embroideries are more rich, but that thing's going to be way more expensive to make, and it's really nice.
So out of 10, mine. You've not seen the others yet, but we can revise these scores.
Still rate it out of 10. Do you know what? I'm going to give that a 7. I think there's there's stuff there is something we could do with that.
Okay, yeah, I'll absolutely take that. Okay, we'll go on to John's next then, I think, which is just, you can talk through it in a sec, but for Rob and the people who are listening to this, I'd urge you to go and watch the YouTube video where you can see these, but if you are listening to this only, it's just a lion facing left.
No such thing.
A star AVFC at the bottom. There's a claret version for certain kits and a white version for different kits. I've got your brief as well if you want to read it out, but your kind of general thoughts on that firstly?
I like it. I mean, my hope was that we were going to do something more kind of standalone on shirt, even if the club had a crest that would show up on print or wherever else that was more kind of encapsulated. I'm still a little bit sketchy about a star. I think with, even disregarding the face that your lion was pulling with this one, I feel like having the lion looking up at the star or walking towards the star or chasing it makes me feel a bit sad. It's like when you see a cartoon of somebody riding a horse and they've got like a carrot on a fishing rod in front, just dangling it, and they'll never actually catch it.
Yeah. Right, so a quick departure from Hockley Social Club for the bulk of this video. The day that we were shooting this, we had loads of tech problems and we actually lost an entire video that we shot. In this one specifically about the concept badges, it was your mic that was dodgy for some reason. Obviously, in this, it's me and Rob have so far spoken about my badge. Matt wasn't there on the day and I spoke for him. But when you're starting to explain why you chose what you chose for your badge, the audio is not there. So can you kind of talk me through your brief, first of all, of what you sent to our graphic designer to get your concept badge made up?
Yeah, I won't say it word for word because I'm just looking at it now and it says old school lion with talons, claws looking scary. I suppose to be fair, I have read it out and that is about it. We want to stick to our traditions as well. We want to kind of make them stand out a bit, I think, because we have to. That's marketing, isn't it? So we don't want to sort of mix in with them. I think if we had a single line on its own, like the old school one, looking, angry and with its claws out, yeah, I think that would make for a nice badge. I didn't want any shields or anything. It's something that you could just, like, I know the Tottenham badge gets a lot of hate, specifically from you, Dan, because you're in graphic design. But you'd have it like on the Claret shirt, it would just be white or gold. I think gold would look really nice. And then on on a lighter colour shirt, a yellow or white shirt, then you'd put it in, I don't know, navy or black or whatever it may be, or claret. You can mix and match with it, and it's something that you can just easily put around the stadium as well. There's no like typography that needs to go with it, or if you want to put like an AVFC in it, I suppose. But it's just it just resembles Villa, doesn't it?
We'll go back to Rob and his explanation for. I think your badge comes before Matt's as well. So if you're watching this bit, Matt's is a joke. By the way, that's coming up in a second. So back to Rob, back to us from Hockey Social Club a long time ago. And yeah, John, thanks for explaining and having a microphone that works.
Like if you cover the star up, it typically looks like a lion rampant. But with the star there, it feels like the lion's just like dancing a little bit, or trying to play with like or you could draw a line directly down from the star and it's like he's got a magic wand, or it's just, I don't know, it typically feels quite plonked on, whereas I think if it was a different colour even would give us something. I think technically there, you know, the typeface itself is quite slim, so if you were shrinking that down to the size that it would be for on a shirt, then again you might have difficulty with it coming off. That's why it's normally on a background of a badge rather than just being applied straight to the fabric. Would depend on the quality of the manufacturer we were working with as to whether it would stay on or not.
Maybe yours specifically for on the shirt would be better without the text.
Possibly so,
and
yeah.
Just the badge is that as an overall. On the shirt it's literally just the line.
In my description I did put just the line, but I think either way.
Marks out of 10?
I'm going to give that an 8. I think it's I like it.
It's nice.
It just feels sophisticated. I think the reason it's an 8 and not a 10, I love it and it's nice, but I'd want us to go those extra levels of how can we make it unique, like you say, so it's not Millwall, Chelsea, you know, whoever else.
Matt should be here to take responsibility for this. Do you want to see his? Do you want to see his first, or would you like to hear the brief first?
The brief first, I think. Yeah, be interesting. Let's.
Okay. Hello. I would like my badge or crest to be like a stamp, with a lion with a crown on in profile. If the crown could look a bit more like the European Cup, even better. I want the lion to look statesman-like. I want the colouring of the crest to be a subtle mixture of claret and blue. I want the crest to be crest-shaped, but with the jagged edges of a stamp. Where it says first for first class, you use the words Aston Villa.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a nonsense.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's trying to do something different.
It does look like a stamp, to be fair. Like the brief has been translated. You can see the edges of a stamp.
He's got what he asked for. There's no two ways about that.
But why did he ask for it?
Is the crown there for royalty in terms of Prince William?
Let's say yes. I think it's because, again, it looks more like a stamp if they've got a crown.
Yeah, I mean, the crown, the thing doesn't... I don't really get it. I don't really know what to say. I think if the star was on it as well,
yeah, I'm surprised the star's not on there.
Yeah, it would look like a lion at a birthday party, rather than
a lot's happening.
yeah. There's a lot to take in. To be honest, I admire the fact that he's tried to do something different with like the outline of the badge, and I do wonder is there something else? You know, is there something? Personally, if I was designing it, I'd go and look round Aston Hall and be like, is there something in there that would give us an edgy detail that would have some value or something different to it? I can understand why the lion's grimacing on yours now, because perhaps he had to wear the party hat first before he showed up in your badge, and he's still disgusted by it. I don't know. I don't want to be super harsh, because you know, it's not nice to be unkind to children when they bring their drawings home from school. You've got this to look forward to. In its current form, it's going to get a pitiful 4, I would say, which I know you were probably hoping it'd get a 1 or something. I like the abstract thinking of it, but that's all I like about it. So I like the idea of doing something completely different. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It could have been the shape of a fried egg for, you know, as much value as there is of having a stamp. Yeah, it's, you know, of equal relevance.
We've missed some major part in Aston Villa's history that's got.
Can you imagine? Just get absolutely bashed out in the comments. I'd leave you with an anecdote of some of the approaches that either go through or people get asked for if we're talking about the brief. So back in my Umbro days, we were working with Hull City, or we were about to start working with them, and the chairman back then was busy trying to change the name to like the Hull City Tigers or whatever else, and he wanted it all to be about Tigers. So we went through this massive exercise that went on for weeks. We had every graphic designer in the business working on it, because Hull was still in the Premier League back then. And the brief was to, similar to yours, have the tiger bursting out of the crest, but he wanted it literally coming out face first. So I guess perhaps thinking more along the lines of like an NFL style badge. But everything we did just looked like it was like a Frosties advert. It was dreadful, and it got to the point where, because we knew that it wasn't going to look good, and we knew that the fans wouldn't like it, and ultimately it would come back on us. So it got to the point where we were presenting things that were so unlikely to be approved that it just meant that, be like, oh, you know, we are just better off just going back to something a bit more traditional. I think we did end up with some sort of random tiger figure within it that wasn't what we would have loved, but it was one of those where the guy owns the club, so ultimately you've got to do what you've got to do. So let's be thankful that Matt Kendrick doesn't have Nassef Sawiris' fortune, otherwise we'd be in deep doo-doo, wouldn't we?
Get involved in the comments. Which badge do you prefer? I mean, let's face it, it is John's, but let us know regardless. We'll see you soon here for more content on Claret and Blue.